All right, so welcome back to Breaking Dawn this morning, and we're down the home stretch here. So just before we bring in Setwayo aboard, there was a video that I came across on social media. As a matter of fact, it was sent to me via WhatsApp. So I want to share it with you, and then Seth has seen it, so he will comment on it. Director, could you give me the protein video?
You know there's no such thing as protein. Body, think about the gorilla. What protein is he getting?
So it don't even come from plants? Like,
not at all.
He don't need protein, and he bigger than all of us. He eating green leaves.
Yeah.
Whatever protein they say exists, got to exist in that.
Yeah.
That is a westernized formula that's man-made in a laboratory. How can a white substance help me with my proper nutritional value? You want minerals, such as that sea moss you just took. That's going to provide you with more minerals than that white substance.
So what about like vitamins and fish oil? Is that any good?
They have their job that they do. When you have black seed oil, why use fish oil? But there's always great alternative. And the great alternative is always what? That plant goes into the ground and it extracts all the minerals from the ground, digests them, and then we take that and digest it and get all the minerals that it can.
All right, let's bring in Seth on this one. Setwayo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
By all accounts from their commentary on that video, protein is a figment of our imagination and it does not exist. I know this will be a fun segment today. Go ahead, let me hear this one.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, a lot of people get airplay and some people are very charismatic in their speaking, but they speak a lot of emptiness or nothingness. All right. To say that protein doesn't exist is basically to say that you don't exist. If you look at your hand, you're seeing a couple different types of protein there. You're seeing your nails,
Okay.
which are made up of proteins. You're seeing your skin made up of protein. My beard is protein. Your hair is made out of protein, right? What proteins are? Proteins are long chain molecules that are made up of amino acids. Now, if I share my screen here just to show you.
Right.
We have about 20 amino acids. Some would say 21, yes. All right. Some would even go as far as to say 22, but one of which is not used by humans. But in nature, you have over 500 amino acids. But when it comes to creating the human body and the human structure, you need just about 20 of those. So these are the 20 amino acids.
Right.
Out of these 20, you have the 9 essential, and then the rest is non-essential amino acids. Now, what is meant by essential and non-essential amino acid? It means that the non-essential, your body can synthesize, and the essential, you have to consume through your diet.
Okay.
From the consumption of the essential amino acids, your body can synthesize the other non-essential amino acid. Now, there are some of those non-essential amino acids that are classed as conditional non-essential amino acid or conditionally essential, meaning if you are nutritionally deficient, your body would have difficulties synthesizing them.
All right.
So amino acids are very important. They produce things, when they come together, they form complex structures, all right? Such things like your hair, your skin, right? You have your muscles, your organs, you have enzymes and hormones that are produced from protein. For example, insulin is protein, so you need to consume protein so your body could produce insulin, for your body to produce even your immune cells. These things are all proteins. So for someone to say that proteins don't exist is a huge, what I would call a huge lecture on basically nothingness. That is misinformation to the highest degree there. How could one say protein doesn't exist? And then they refer to it as a white substance.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to know if protein is in something, you would take two chemicals. You'll take copper phosphate and sodium hydroxide, right? You would take the protein, like let's say I take a strand of my hair and I crush it up and grind it up. I put it in some water, in a water solution. I would put some of the sodium hydroxide in it, and then I would add some of the copper sulfate. And if it turns to a purple color, it shows that there is protein there, right? If it just remains a blue color, then it means that doesn't have protein.
Right.
So protein turns purple.
Purple,
right?
not
so,
white.
I mean, when they just say, you know, it's this white substance, I'm not understanding where they're coming from. I don't know if they're just referring to protein powders and they're mixing up that protein comes in many different forms.
Right.
So let me put it this way. The 20 amino acids, they form many structures. And I want you to view it like in music. You have 7 notes in music.
Okay.
Those 7 notes in music, based on how you sequence those notes, based on the octaves you place those notes, you get all the music that exists in the world today from 7 notes.
From 7
right?
notes.
From 7 notes. Right? I used to do music. I was a musician at a point in time.
All right.
So when it comes to the body and with proteins, the amino acids, based on your genetics, your genes would tell them how to sequence to get different things, your eye color, your hair texture, all of that. So based on how it is sequenced, you can get an entire human structure with different features, right, from those 20, right? So to say that protein doesn't exist is a big misrepresentation. The other thing is the individuals would have looked at showcase a gorilla and said,
I was about to mention that.
They eat plants all day.
Yeah.
Right now, that also tells me they don't understand the digestive system of different animals. All living creatures have digestive systems, but all living creatures do not have the same digestive system.
Right.
Right? Now you have what is classed as, you have what you call foregut fermenters, right? And you have hindgut fermenters. Because the proteins in plants, what he didn't mention is that a gorilla has to consume per day 40 pounds of vegetation. Could a human do that?
Right.
No. That's 40 pounds of vegetation per day, right? Now gorillas, like it's having the corner here, the orangutan, right? The orangutan, they are hindgut fermenters. So this is why they have enlarged the large part of their digestive system, their intestines. They have an enlarged cecum, right? And also the large intestines are even larger than usual to facilitate fermentation of that vegetation, because the protein in vegetation is inside and entwined with the plant fibers and the plant material that it's very hard to get out. We humans, if you look at our cecum here, is very small. We can't do much fermentation, all right? And in fact, in our large intestines, there are not as much absorption site as in the small intestines. So we can't absorb much nutrients from things that might be fermented in the large intestines or in the cecum.
All right.
But most people aren't aware that you have a whole digestive process. Proteins are complex. And because proteins are complex and they are large structures, your digestive system has to break it down into the amino acid profiles in order for your body to absorb it and rebuild it into something, whatever your body might need at the time.
Right.
But you see, most people aren't aware of these things. And because they aren't aware of these things, they would listen to individuals like this guy speaking there, that for some it sounds good because we think, when this is like this saying long time, if you eat food standing up, it drop down to your foot. That, you know, it's basically the thinking that you have nothing inside of you, and when you consume it, it just drops straight down to your foot.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a whole digestive process. You have a GI tract that goes from mouth to anus, and it have a whole complex process there. So when people go to people like them to get health advice or health guidance or even get treatment, this is why they just end up coming by me after. Right? Because of the fact that they damage them because they do not understand. They haven't done the research, they haven't done the studies, right? They are just going based on speculation. It sounds good, and therefore it has to be good. right? And what I tell people, your personal beliefs does not trump scientific reality, right? And this is what we need to understand. This is why I went through with the different types of health studies 2 weeks ago, showing the hierarchy of health studies and the level of research and testing that goes into those things to ensure that the information that's coming out can be solid and conclusive, all right? But, I mean, sometimes we like to live in a fantasy world, all right? And having said that, I was watching the program yesterday.
But I'm not going to ask you about that with the situations at the hospital and healthcare and people concerned with healthcare and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so many people are concerned, you know, there's a shortage of nurses and a shortage of staff. And for years, because I've done research, since in the 1960s, we have always had an overpopulation issue with the hospitals, right? And they were looking at, you know, when it comes to getting lab work done, they are slow with getting results and stuff for people. But there is an elephant in the room that we keep ignoring. And it's a big elephant in the room, which is because we know the hospital never have beds. But is it that the hospital have a shortage of beds, or is it that we have too many sick people? And that is the question we need to ask. Based on the population size of Trinidad and Tobago, we have too many sick people.
Yeah.
And that's because we, the general population, do not know how to eat. We have been influenced largely by large corporations that are pushing their products regarding foods. I've shown before, and I may show it again some other time in the future, where over 50 years ago, where the Sugar Research Foundation, they paid the scientists to omit some key information in order for them to put the blame on fats and take the blame off of sugar. That it skyrocketed, right? It had skyrocketed the consumption of sugar, which also caused a skyrocketing of health issues. Right? Because since the 1960s to now, all diseases has just dramatically gone up. We have had a reduction of fat in foods. Everything is low fat or no fat, and this has happened. And it's all because of that one study. This is why by now, as of 2010, they placed a law that all studies now must show their finances. Right, in order to prevent something like that from happening.
Again.
So what I encourage people is book your consultation. Because everyone that has, and I'm saying everyone, the information that I share in one consultation is so much and is so simplified, yet it's so profound, and I always show my sources of data, that it causes people in that one consultation to understand nutrition more from one session than their entire life of nutrition.
All right, well, Seth.
It's that effective.
Nice, man. So people, all you have to do to book an appointment with Seth while aboard is call him on 761-1952. That is 761-1952. And be careful, be careful. These guys want the breakfast club.
Be very careful out there. Wow.
Hey, Seth, hey, thanks a lot for joining us today. Until I see you again next week, man. Take it easy.
Yes, thanks for having me. Take care.
Yeah, man. I say protein don't exist.